What a way to set the scene. The Hi-Tec Oils Bathurst 6 Hour. Happy Easter, everyone. Welcome to Mount Panorama, Bathurst. It is looking a charm today. Blue skies all around as we kick off our streaming coverage from here at the Hi-Tec Oils Bathurst 6 Hour. A whole pile of categories, a whole pile of cars. Over 300 entries across various categories this weekend. I'm Aaron Noonan. Alongside me to begin the coverage today is Ben Bargwanna, who's behind the wheel in the Trico Trans Am Series this weekend. We're going to have a whole pile of experienced, funny, knowledgeable commentators and pit lane reporters over the course of the next 2 days of our coverage. We're going to kick it off old school, Ben. Historic touring cars. This will be fun.
Absolutely. We are at the best track in the world, in Australia. It's Easter weekend, the sun's out, and we've got some historic touring cars, some really nice race cars in here.
There is a bit of something for everyone. The V8 Sleuth drone cam capturing how it's looking at the top of Mount Panorama. And the historic touring cars are rolling out of the paddock here at Mount Panorama. It is Saturday, it's Easter, it's the Hi-Tec Oils Bathurst 6 Hour. Aaron Noonan here. Gary O'Brien's on the other headset, and we are going to let some historic touring cars loose at Bathurst, Gaz. This will be a pile of fun. As we take a look at the grid, let's get them rumbling. Race 2, Paul Stubber in the Camaro. He's on pole alongside Brad Tilley in the 66 Mustang. Luke and Jack Harrison in the pair of Mustangs are on row 2. It's all Mustangs there. The next car is the Shelby 350. That's the first of the Group S sports cars. And look at the count. They just keep on coming. Capris, Falcons, Toranos, the mighty Monaro, Wayne Harrison in car 350. Appropriate number for the engine of a Monaro. But they are lined up. They're good to go. We're ready to rumble. It's race 2. Earlier in the day, at the very start of the day, we had a safety car period. We had a safety car finish. Let's hope, fingers crossed, that we get more green flag racing. There's the green at the back. We're good to go at Bathurst. Historic touring cars, race 2 at the Hi-Tec Oils Bathurst 6 Hour. Camaro and Mustang, Chevy and Ford, Stubber and Tilley. Hell Corner awaits. Waiting for the start. We've got it. We're going. Look at the Porsche trying to cut on through. Drama on the front. The Mustang of Harrison's gone nowhere. All those yellow flags tell the drivers there's a drama. Let's hope they miss him.
That's the Jack Harrison car that was on position 4 on the grid. I did notice a Monaro of Wayne Harrison just get past him in the background. That's scary when that sort of thing happens at the start.
V8 Sleuth drone cam as they roll on up Mountain Straight. Stubber clearing away. Tilley is dropping back. That white Mustang with the blue GT stripes. Now he's going to put a move on Michael Michelli at turn 2 to get back to third spot as they climb the mountain, already starting to spread out.
Well, this is fairly typical of historic touring car racing. Those who are really switched on go early. Look, Jamie Tilley's already picked up spots, finished 12th in the first race from the back of the grid, and he was on fire. He said the tyres had just come on when the safety car came out.
Gaz, we barely had a green flag racing lap this morning, and he went from 44th on the grid. Stubber nearly loses it at the top of the mountain. That was wild. Tilley is a man to watch. Well, there's 2 Tilleys. Brad's running 3rd, Jamie's 7th. It's lap 1. If he could get up 30 spots in race 1, what can he do in this one?
Well, he's on fire. He wants to do it. Oh, that pacer went close to the wall.
Ooh.
At the grate there.
Replay here, Gary. Oh, my. Camaros in that part of the circuit, they have history.
Yes, they do. We didn't want to see that one end up like the last one that did a roll over there many years ago.
Off the top, dropping down. That Porsche I mentioned is Doug Barber. That's one of the Group S sports cars, the historic sports car category that's blended in and running with the Group N cars this weekend.
I think it's the only Porsche left, actually.
I think we've lost a couple. We're losing Paul Stubber. He's getting away from the pack on Conrod. Harrison and Tilley, side by side. I think I said this earlier in the day. It's not an historic touring car race if there's not one Tilley in it. They are one of the big parts of historic touring car racing. And now Brad's through to 2nd. He's going to struggle to pull it up here in the chase. Manages to do it. Well, that was tight.
Both 289 power engine cars. And we did notice the yellow Mustang had a lot of smoke coming out of it at certain parts of the track this morning. Don't know if it was actually dropping oil, but there was some smoke coming out of it. But it seems to be quite clear at the moment, holding down 3rd place. Luke Harrison is also doubling up. He's actually racing in the 6 Hour as well.
End of lap 1. A bit further back, there are the Mustangs.
two of these came together earlier too, didn't they?
Yeah, they've had a... I wonder if they've all had a talking to, because in race one there was a little bit of craziness going on as they climbed the mountain again. It's a timed race. We're just under 12 minutes left on the clock, but still plenty of time to get some laps in, get some racing here on a Saturday afternoon. We've got more racing to come here from Bathurst. Just because qualifying for the 6 hours done doesn't mean that we're done. We've got lots more for the next couple of hours. We're here at Machelli, being chased by Craig Allen in the Mustang Fastback. And
those two had contact at Griffin Bend in the earlier race. And they've got Jamie Tilley right behind them. And just behind him is Terry Lawler in the Shelby GT350. All those last two cars in that are both run by Tilley's. Of course, they look after Terry Lawler's Group S car. And they looked after Greg Tofers until it is no longer.
And talking to Terry Lawler in recent times, he's just acquired one of the Dick Johnson Shell Ford Sierra Group A cars that he's going to... It's actually the Dick Johnson 89 Touring Car Championship winning car that's going to be restored to how it raced here in 91 with Kane Scott, because, of course, the later year gets you the better spec car. Once the racer, always the racer.
Indeed. And that would have been the last spec that they would have had, 91, wouldn't it?
Second last year of the Sierras, but yeah, pretty much the ultimate, as good as you could get. They can tweak the specs a little bit of Group A here in Australia, but no tweaking going on here. It's all about the V8s at the front of the field. It's hard to keep up with them.
Yeah, this is the most interesting dice, these three Fords. They all look fairly similar, but they're all slightly different.
The same but different.
Yes. There's 351s, there's 302s, Mac 1s, Boss 302s, you name it, they're all slightly different. And performance-wise, pretty much the same.
Yeah, for all of that difference, love the sound. Group N, historic touring cars. This is a historic category. It's different to, touring car masters. They're heavily modified cars. These are the period style cars. Long time Group N racing in Australia. NC is for the cars from 65 to 72, and B is for the earlier era. But right now, Paul Stubber's clearing away. 2.9 seconds on Brad Tilley as we look at this fight for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Terry Lawler back of shot, and just out of shot is the 186 of Andrew Beard, and that is the 69 Camaro. So the kind of bookending this first part of the field.
They are at the moment. We've just seen Jamie Tilley pass the number 55 Craig Allen car. I noticed that Craig was on the giving the brakes a tap going down Conrod Straight, so I suspect that he was not going to go too hard under brakes into Murray's Corner, and that's where Tilley got past him.
Replay at the top of the mountain. This is Adrian Moyle in his Camaro making a move and waving. Is that a thank you? Yeah. It's one or the other.
Yeah, and he didn't finish the first race, so up to 19th already.
He's making ground. I tell you what, Jamie Tilley's making ground here too on the left of the screen. The number 9 Mustang is moving forward. He's 5th. He started the first race earlier today. He was at 44th, last on the grid. Charged through to the fringe of the 10 and is going on with it in this final race. Just over 8.5 minutes still on the clock. Lots of time here, but lots of time for Paul Stubber to get away. Margin 3.7 seconds now out in front as we focus in on this fight. 4, 5, 6, 7. They're all close together.
They're a good looking car, those Mustangs. I noticed Stubber's just done the fastest lap of the race and going quicker again on this lap. First sector of 59.9. I think the Class X BMWs were doing 52s.
I was going to get the result sheet out for the 6 hour before and see where Stubber might get on the grid, but we'll have a look at a replay here. All locked up. Stuart Watson in the Falcon. How does he go with the rejoin here? Actually, it's a little sideways rally cross through the grass. He'll pop out the other side and get going again without anyone getting in the way, or vice versa.
There is a second Porsche out on the track. That's a David Canine car, the 911. Actually, when Jeff Morgan had his engine go in the qualifying session, Canine spun off into the chase. They said they had to go and get a backhoe to dig the thing out. It was that deep in the sand. But Tilley's just picked up another spot. He's got past Michael Machelli going into the chase. Before he got to the chase, he did the slipstream bit, got through.
I've just done a quick bit of research. So Paul Stubber's fastest lap so far, if that was done in the 6 hour, Camaro would be 19th. I'm not sure it would last for 6 hours.
No, it would be good for a couple of laps.
It'd be good fun. Oh, sideways, out in the dirt is Michelli, running P5. A bit further back in the pack. Let's see some Tiranas.
Greg Luca
here.
And Greg Brand in his Capri.
And that's the thing I love about Group N. As much as we see the Camaros and the Mustangs and the heavy metal at the front of the field, there's something for everyone here. Whether you're 4-cylinders, 6-cylinders, minis, there's Tiranas, Capris. 202. I do like how the historic touring car racers get their number to match their car, their engine capacity. The 911 Porsche cars. Right on cue.
And the Charger.
And the Charger as well. Climbing the mountain.
Just one Charger. One of the Chargers didn't make it after qualifying, unfortunately. So we've only got this car running.
And it's Michael Hibbert, who's 10th overall.
He's got Doug Barber behind him, and it looks like Jack Harrison on the comeback trail after stalling on the grid.
So he's able to get away with it, because I was really worried. We cut away from the start shot, still with probably 7 or 8 cars to get by that red Mustang, but he's got it up and rolling now. He's trying to put a move to get to 11th place on this Porsche. He's got time, just under 6 minutes to go. He can get a few more here.
You know, if the V8 Charger was eligible for this category, the Tillys would be racing them. But unfortunately, only the 6-cylinder car is eligible. We didn't see any V8 Chargers racing in either improved production or series production in 1972.
We nearly did.
Nearly did, but
didn't get quite get there.
73, there was a couple in that came along. I think they were sports sedan type cars, closed sports, whatever they call it back then. And yeah, so we didn't see a V8 Charger, unfortunately.
Love watching and following, hearing off the top of Bathurst. I mean, there's so... No. 54, Stephen Page, the BMW's in the wall. That's at turn 1. At Hell Corner, they're dropping like flies now. That's Ben Tebbett in the little Mini.
He was the leading Mini too.
He was. He's not anymore. So with just under
contact between those two.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. It's one at the bottom, and safety cars being called as we say that. Let's have a look at the replay. Well, the BMW is on its own. It's going off solo. It's going in, and it's going in hard to the Shannons wall on the Hi-Tec Oils replay. And that's why we have tyre bundles, because if that's head-on into concrete, that's really nasty. So they're going to get this BMW out of the way down at Hell Corner. It's a shame for Stephen Page, the 2002 BMW, just ran too deep in at turn 1, couldn't pull it up, head-butted the wall, that Shannons wall at turn 1 at Hell Corner. So the Historics will roll up Mountain Straight, V8 Sleuth drone cam. They can't get away from this. It's following them everywhere today here at Bathurst. They will turn left on Mountain Straight and head back into the paddock.
Look at the campers up there.
Yeah, there's plenty of them, and plenty of historic cars. Team Medical Australia on site there, just to be sure with all accidents. Let's recap the results of Historic Touring Cars Race 2. Paul Stubber from Brad Tilley and Luke Harrison. Michael Michelli and Craig Allen next from Terry Lawler. Andrew Beard in the Camaro from Peter O'Brien. Michael Hibbert, go Charger. And rounding out the 10 was Harrison in a big fight back from stalling on the grid gas.
Yeah, Doug Barber in 11th in the Group S Porsche, followed by Quentin Bland, Adrian Moyle, Keith Davison there as well, Greg Luca in the Tirana, and we're down to Wakefield, Sean Boland in the last of the Harrison cars. They had a whole fleet of cars here this weekend. He is in the Tirana, so
don't go anywhere. We've got plenty more racing, Gaz, here at Mount Panorama. The Hi-Tec Oils Bathurst 6 Hour. Fans have come from all around. The campgrounds are pretty full. Town's been busy. Easter's going off, but we've got one Monaro that needs a hand. Yes.
So we are underway and racing in the Circuit XLs, and already amazing stuff as they go to the top of Mount Panorama. Richard Trail, Brian Vanderwacker, the great Gary O'Brien with us side by side up to Reed Park. Car number 1 is Ethan Grigg Galt. He was on pole, but it's bump drafting across the top of the mountain. Early laps in a 25-minute time race. They still side by side across the top of the hill to McPhillamy Park. Twining's in there. Collins was vying for the lead, but Grigg Galt will sweep in front as they get across the top. Tompkins there with a couple of wheels dropped off on the outside, and a massive field in what has become one of the great driver development categories in Australia. They get themselves sorted. There's dramas, and there's action, and there's contact, and there's a car parked in the Gazoo Racing Dipper. Wow, busy start to this Excel race, gentlemen. Good morning.
Harry Tompkins there, the man stopped on driver's left with another car just parked in behind. I thought the Daytona 500 was in February, not right now here at Mount Panorama. Wild stuff going on for that first lap, and with a car parked there in a precarious position, I dare say we might see the intervention of a safety car, but it's the run towards that safety car that's going to be key, because Ethan Gregolt is leading this field down the hill here for the first time. Drafting is going to be key in this race, Gary O'Brien.
Well, you talked about it all through yesterday's qualifying, that we knew that where you had to be on the last lap was priority, but unfortunately for Harry Tompkins, it's not going to happen. 51 cars started, there was 51 entered, perfect numbers, but unfortunately now we've got at least one out.
So you can just see there, the incident already happened before it came into the frame there, but unfortunately Harry, it looked like there might have been a bit of action in front of him as well, but just had nowhere to go in the end, and we do go safety car for this 30-minute race, and that time starts as soon as they leave the marshalling area to get to the start-finish line. So 22 minutes remaining, but unfortunately for Harry Tompkins, the man known as Swaggy H, will go no further here in this particular race.
And already car 92 got a 5-second penalty, obviously for a start line infringement.
As we've got confirmation, lights are out, getting set for a restart this time by. Still 12 and a half minutes left on the clock, and fingers crossed we can go green to the end here, Gary.
Yeah, hang on to your hats, fellas. I think this is going to be quite wild in the first couple of laps at least. And I dare say it'll probably go to the end as well.
If that first lap was anything to go by, we are set for an absolute barn burner here. And look at some of these drivers. They are right on the rear bar, if not maybe at some points pushing and touching, getting ready for this restart here, because you don't want to miss the jump. You don't want to give away any possibility of making a pass on this first lap of the restart. Green flags are showing, so we won't be too far away from the leader. Ethan Gregolt stepping on that loud pedal and trying to squeak away from the field as well. He's still being very gentlemanly here as they lead down into Murray's corner. We wait patiently.
Everyone does their role accurately.
Still waiting. Jeez, Ethan's going to leave.
He'll go halfway through the corner. There he goes.
And he's got a nice jump as well. He's already probably put a car between himself and the rest of this field as the enormous field rolls down the Hi-Tec Oils pit straight, and we go green once again. Oliver already having to go on the defensive there on the left-hand side of the road as Burton didn't get a great restart, and he's going to lose out in all this as well. Was third at the restart, but already goes back to position 5. Cars off the road as they head up Mountain Straight once again.
First two have actually got a good break there. It's almost half a second. So they head up Mountain Straight the first time. Oliver into third, Twining, Burton, Buckley, Wood. That's John Wood, Jackson Faulkner, Brett Parrish in 9th, Cooper in 10th.
Watch Ace Buckley a little bit further on through the field. He's been very strong, competing in New South Wales, dominated their last round, and already now starting to make his way through the field for his first trip up to here at Mount Panorama. Geez, some of these cars are really dicing on the outside of the racetrack. It's not often that you see cars on the outside there at Griffin's Bend and get away with it, because that's where the marbles often sit. The steepest point of the racetrack, right here at the cutting.
Look at the congestion back in the field. And to think that these guys are way back in, somewhere anywhere in 36, 37, 38 position, and they're fighting like they're out to win the race.
They're fighting for the World Championship of Excel Racing, aren't they? As your leaders have actually pulled away. So Ethan Gregolt and Johnson here have put over just a second from everyone else right now, and that's going to be key to try and break that slipstream. Buckley, a little further back, looking towards the outside. Likewise for Ethan Gregolt. He made a mistake there on the entry, and that's cost him a lot of time. And you can see that margin has now blown out between first and second. So Ethan Gregolt now, he's got to have a really good run across the top of Mount Panorama here. Otherwise, he's going to lose that draft, and he might have to fall back into the clutches of Twining. Hope they work each other in order to re-catch Johnson out in front. Oh, contact. Serves him, and there's going to be carnage here. There's going to be carnage. Burton unfortunately turned around, would know where to go. And hopefully all these cars stay on driver's right. The marshals will be waving the flags there at the point before this. There was a tag in the rear, served him towards the right. Thankfully not too much contact, but they're going to lose an enormous amount of time and go right towards the back of the train.
You have to feel sorry for Woody in that little incident. Nowhere to go. Lucky that he's got away with it.
So here's the replay. And they just come out of the cutting and watch the tag in the rear here, right there, through the right hand. It was a fairly sizable hit and then comes back across the road. And like you mentioned, Gary, absolutely nowhere to go for young Wood. Small contact, thankfully, with the wall on the left-hand side, but that has destroyed their race. If they could really work the toe on this lap, and dare I say updraft at certain points, I wonder if 2.3 seconds is just too much, though, to close in. We'll have to wait and see. Look at the fights further on through the field. They are literally fighting for all it's worth at the moment, and cars going off further on down the field as well. That's the 333 entry of Liam Ioannidis that's gone off down there at the chase. Thankfully gets it back on. It's probably maybe the fastest way to go through the chase there. Just keep the foot pinned through the firewall and keep it flat on the grass.
Well, front wheel drive, you just steer it in the direction you want to go and hopefully the back follows you.
Absolutely. So the margin's still 2.3 seconds from first back to second. Johnson holding on and doing the job right now. Turns it into McPhillamy Park. Ethan Greekgold, how hard will he drive this car down the S's this time by? It's been a really good lap. Look at that left rear off the ground once again. Drops it down into the S's. Car complains a little bit. Oh, look at the way it hit that curb. Now he's all crossed up. Get it turned into the dipper here, son. He does do. Very close once again to the wall. But that curb really unsettled that car then that time by.
He's throwing that thing across the top of the mountain, desperate to stay ahead of Will Twining at this stage. And more trouble down at Forest Elbow, trying to get that car turned in.
You think it's a drift car at the moment. Like he's got the handbrake on the rear of that car at the moment. It's going sideways all across this track. Johnson, you got to hand it to him, though. He's done a really good job, and even on this last lap, with his margin of 2.2 seconds, is darting left and right across the road, heading down Conrod Straight to try and break any chance of a toe that those two behind might get. And if anything, Ethan Greekgold, 0.6 of a second between himself and Twining as they exited Forest Elbow, is probably going to hold on now for this second spot. Again, locks it up. It becomes a bit of the norm now, really, for him, with the smoke coming off the rear of that car. But Johnson out in front, what a tremendous drive. Really has controlled this race towards the back half. And the Autobahn entry of Joel Johnson, he's got one more corner to negotiate and will take the checkered flag for the opening race this weekend of the Excels at Mount Panorama. A comfortable win in the end when you speak of Excel land. 1.9 seconds between himself and Ethan Greekgold. Twining back there in third. Faulkner and Oliver completing your top five. And still, Gary, the battles go on for the back end of the top 10.
And it's very close between those two getting across the line, side by side, and then they're still going on with it after they get across the line.
So a great opening race it was in the end. Johnson getting the job done. Here's your results. Ethan Greekgold behind him, 1.9 seconds. Twining in third. Faulkner from Oliver. Then you go back to Buckley, Tyce Hodge, Matthew Boylett, Sam Taylora, and Volts completing your top 10. That margin, 17.7 seconds between the top 10. I dare say we might even see that a little bit tighter once we get through the afternoon here for the Excel.
And I think Oliver's only just lost one spot out of all that.
Certainly. Jack Walls, position number 21 for him. Jack Johnson further on through in position number 25. Ioannidis, after going off there on the road, position number 28 for him, as we'll scroll on through the page and see some of those runners outside of the top 30 as well. Jack Wood, a case of what could have been for him. He was 32nd overall, and unfortunately could have been much further on through this field. George Wood as well, we saw him have that drummer, and there's going to be so many cases. I reckon if I had $1 for every time someone said I'm living my dream this weekend, I'd have more money than Elon Musk, and probably wouldn't be tariff affected either. Let's run you through your starting grid here for this one. Adam Poole, he was your Nationals champion in 2023. We'll start from position number 1. It's an all Monaro front row with Adam Garwood alongside him.
Chris Brown and Luke Retcumbo start on the second row today. Ian McLennan and Ben Sheedy, keep an eye on him in the Holden Commodore starting on the third row. Mark Tutton and Tony Maloney start out of 7 and 8 today. Scott Cook and Royce Line in that BMW E30 starts out of position 10 today.
He was up here in a GR86 Cup car in October, so he's back into his normal wheelhouse of a BMW as well. Plenty of BMWs through this particular field that you watch for, and so many different variations of cars from Civics, Holden Commodores too. Plenty to talk about over the course of this race. Of the two Holdens sitting on that front row, watch for Brown and Luke Gretsch-Cumbo off that second row as well. The thunderous roar is about to rock around here at Mount Panorama. We'll get set for a start here in a moment. Which one of these Commodores will get that run to position number 1? The Monaros on that front row as we go green for race number 2 of the weekend for your Autosport IPRA Bathurst Cup. And it looks like it's Garwood that gets that jump around the outside of the front row. And Luke Gretsch-Cumbo is going to work his way through as well. It's a Monaro sandwich as they work their way up Mountain Straight for the first time.
Almost could have been a highlight of a 6 hour from many years ago, the way they launched, and they're still coming past us on the main straight into turn number 1. But a fairly clean start as the first 3 start to pull away from the field and up toward Griffins for the first time. I'm watching towards the back of the pack. It seems that we're carnage free as we climb up through Griffins Bend for the first time. No laps on this one. It's a time race of which 14.5 minutes plus 1 lap remain as they climb up to the Worth Cutting for the first time.
Tony Maloney there was getting hung out a little bit in that Holden Commodore, the VF version, as they work their way through the steepest part of the racetrack, through the cutting and up towards Sulman Park. Love that sound. It's great, isn't it? So many different variations that we'll see here over the next 15 minutes. Garwood already starting to pull away out in front here, near enough to 0.4 of a second, the margin from first back to second as they'll work their way across McPhillamy Park. There was a car then that was veering towards the wall on the right-hand side, and I dare say probably made contact there with the concrete too.
So down the hill for the first time. So Tutton starting to stack the field up there in that 1990 HRT throwback livery down the hill. So Garwood, who finished second and doing double duties for the Trico Trans Am Series 4 Maverick performance this weekend, the reigning Touring Car Masters champion, leads us through, but Tutton has them all blocked up with McLennan, House and Ben Sheedy. Behind them, Tony Maloney and Cook running out the top 10, but they're losing touch with the first few cars. More carriages joining the high-speed train down Conrod Straight.
Working in that toe as well, going down the very fast point of this racetrack. You don't want to be side by side if you're in the two Holdens there. And look at this battle up in front, because it is tightened up now. Garwood has got his work cut out with him, with Paul in behind. Of course, Paul, your 2023 national champion. He went to defend that crown last year as well. Looked good, but unfortunately had some troubles on that particular day and lost that national crown. But I tell you what, he is going to be one hungry man to try and get that top spot back now as we start lap number 2.
And 3 seconds is the gap as he challenges the lead down here at Hell Corner. They'll go side by side. Oh, just gave him enough racing room through turn number 1. So playing for sheep stations, this is why it's a heat race. There will be intensity. And look at them stretching their legs up Mountain Straight. The battle of horsepower here on lap 2.
The Monaros going at it here on Mount Panorama, and it looks to me like it's Paul that's got the job done on driver's left. And we'll see now if he can try and pull away out in front. If anything, he's probably put 2 car lengths now between himself and Garwood as they work their way now up into the cutting. The margin, incidentally, from second back to position number 3 has been extended to 3.6 seconds, so it's a race of 2 out in front at the moment.
Invading that top 10, if you like. Oh, but I just put the mocker on him coming out of Hell Corner. Stepped out, laid a licorice strap on the curb, and keeps on going as he goes up into 9th place, passing Sheedy down there.
He might have mistaken this place for Murray Bridge Speedway. It's Mount Panorama here on your Saturday afternoon. And he's actually going to lose that spot once again, so the battle continues here. Sheedy will have the outside, hold your breath moment through Griffins Bend. We've said that before. And the sideways action continues as Sheedy had it almost on the lock stops then that time by. Holds on to the Commodore. My goodness me.
Sheedy was on the other side of the crown of the road then, and you're in no man's land. But this is what washed all the speed off for Cook, and it killed his top end speed. So instantly he went to cover off and made the 5 go around the outside of Sheedy. And see, just right in the middle there is where the road cambers off. And he was so lucky that didn't turn into a tank slapper through Griffin's Bend. but a long way away from the leading group of cars as they climb towards Worth Cutting for another lap. This is the 4th lap of this 15-minute plus 1 lap race.
It's gone quickly. Imagine being in the race seat as well. Probably actually feels like forever because they've been fighting out so much, particularly in that mid-pack as well. Paul continuing on that speed out in front. 5 seconds now, the margin. Incidentally, he broke the lap record here last year as well with a 2:18.1, so he's a little far off at the moment with a 2:19.8 from what he did here 12 months ago. But out in front, when you've got a 5-second lead, you certainly don't need to push it quite as much. The RX will go quite well down the straights, but it's going to struggle across the top of the mountain. And you know that these cars in behind will certainly close in. There's Burks in behind here with Lenthal as well. Love the rear wing on the Burks machine. Don't know how much extra downforce that's going to bring you, but unfortunately for Lenthal, just locks up that left front then heading into the cutting.
Oh! Sorry to jump in. That is an enormous shunt at Salmon Park. There's barely a car width, and that's further up the road. That's Ben Sheedy that's involved, and now the BMW makes contact. Heavy crash for the BMW on the right-hand side. And a 3-car shunt with barely enough to get a car through. These guys battling inside the top 10, in fact as high as 5th position, and instantly the safety car has been called. That's a good sign. Drivers are climbing out, but look at the damage to the left rear on the Blue Sky Commodore, and our safety car have stopped the field, in fact up the top there, because there's a lot of glass and a lot of debris up there. So safety car has stopped for the time being to at least make a clearer, safer path to get the cars through. The checkered flag has been waved to end this race with Paul, Brown and Garwood. Here's the replay at the top of Salmon Park. So the Holden had lost it of Maloney and backed into the wall again. It's that blind approach, and again, unlucky. Sheedy did his best here. He did absolutely all he could to avoid there in a blind approach, and the BMW arriving on the scene late. Huge damage to both those cars, and look at the 4.
Nice line.
Holy moly.
That was seriously close. I tell you what, that was lucky that we didn't have even more cars involved in that one as well.
Red flagged and checkered flagged at the same time in Heat 2 of the Autosport IPRA Bathurst Cup. Heavy damage here on the mountain.
It's going to take a lot of work to get those cars back out onto the racetrack, not just for this weekend, but for the rest of their working life in many regards. So Adam Poole got the job done in the end from Chris Brown. Adam Garwood, position number 3. Luke Rechcambo and Ian McClellan in the end, completing the top 5 from Scott Cook. Royce Lyon, who just got away with it in the end, in position number 7. Brent Lehman, Nigel Williams there, completing the top 5 as we, 9 I should say, as we turn over the page. Matthew Burks right in the mix. Kurt McCready's been up here for many years as well in that Nissan. He was position number 12, but scary stuff in that one, Knuckles. But it was good to see Adam Poole, though, out in front, getting the job done. And 2 from 2 now so far for him this weekend.
Of course, those official results unofficial until we get clearance from Motorsport Australia Race Control. So at the moment, Burks would win under 2 litre from McCready. They were 9th and 10th.
So much more to come this afternoon here at the Hi-Tec Oils Bathurst 6 Hour.
Racing with the Pulsars and the RX8 Cup. Let's head to commentary now with Brian Vanderwacker and Gary O'Brien.
Thank you very much, Aaron Noonan. Great to be here on this Easter Saturday at Mount Panorama. And as you touched on, a huge support class bill here this weekend as part of the Hi-Tec Oils Bathurst 6 Hour. We've got the Australian Pulsar racing along with the Formula RX8 here, their second race of the weekend. Gary O'Brien joins me alongside. We saw a little bit of a truncated race for them earlier on this morning. Hopefully we'll go clean and green for this second race of the weekend.
Well, we happened to see the 2 marks actually come together. Shad, I should say, Hassan in the RX7 had a bit of a lose in the chase and got collected by Simon Kendrick. We did start with 19 RX8s and 25 Pulsars. We've lost a couple, but they're still a good field.
Enormous field here this weekend, and this will be their second trip around the mountain in terms of racing conditions. It should be roughly around the distance of 15 minutes. And young Charlie Parker, who's been doing a lot with the Toyota Gazoo Racing Australia Scholarship Series, will start this one on pole position alongside the South African Stian Carell here this weekend. Now resides in Sydney. He was strong in that opening race, and he's going to be one to watch out for here in race 2.
He's keen to do the rest of the series as well.
So it won't be too far away from a start. Ryan Gorton and Justin Lewis alongside them on the second row as we go green for race 2 of the weekend. And a great start from Charlie Parker. That TFHI car will lead them through first turn here at Mount Panorama. And Ryan Gorton, a good start as well in the number 2, making the most of that car as they will file up Mountain Straight for the first time as we take our drone shots. And already 3 wide in the early part of this race. You've got to be careful how you do that, because if there's early carnage here, it's really going to affect the back half of this race with the safety car intervention.
And from 4th position on the grid, Justin Lewis has jumped to 2nd, and we now see Ryan Gorton trying to move up the inside of Creel and gets the job done.
Yeah, Creel there was stuck out wide then through Griffin's Bend and was lucky to keep that thing off the fence. And look at this battle for the lead now as well. Lewis around the outside of Parker through the left-hander. It gets the job done, instantly covers now into the steepest part of the racetrack here at the cutting. That was a nice pass and did a really good job here from Lewis. Started down in position number 4, and I tell you what, if he can get this car underneath him, he might be able to squeak away here. As I say that though, back underneath him and at a precarious point for Sulman Park. Parker now back into the race lead.
One would have to suggest that maybe tyre pressures may have enabled him to get ahead so early, but it looks like he's had a little bit of a slip up coming out of the cutting up towards Reed Park, and has now dropped back to 4th.
There could be even more issues here for the number 50 machine as he works his way now down into the S's here for the first time. So he was leading really only a couple of 100 metres ago, but now has fallen deep through the field. Interesting to note, we're combining both the Formula RX8 cars along with the Pulsars here as well. It was Matty Butters that started from the pole in the Nissan Pulsar N15, and that was out of position number 5 overall, and there he is on screen just going through into Forest Elbow. So a nice mixture, and it's a bit of a rivalry warfare between the two classes here this weekend.
Well, we was talking about it off air, and we were saying that the RX8 guys know each other, the Pulsar guys know each other, but they don't know their opposite, their other class. So on that scale, you just don't know what you're going to do if you get close to one, whether you can get past him, know what they're going to do. But Lewis is now trying to come back on the back of Griel. Doesn't quite get close enough.
The car was moving around a little bit underneath him there, heading into the braking area, into the chase, but thankfully held on to it. But a great start from young Charlie Parker here. He works up at Norwell Motorplex, so gets a lot of support underneath the wing, you would say, of Paul Morris. And we've seen Brodie Kostecki poking his nose around this weekend as well. A lot of youth in underneath Charlie Parker, and he really is a star of the future. A lot of people have their eyes on this young man.
Oh, they do, and he got his first win in Scholarship Series at Sydney Motorsport Park at the Trophy Tour round 2 of the series for the second tier of Toyotas.
He will step up into GR Cup this year as well to ride in shotgun along with the Supercars Championship throughout season 2025. So looking forward to watching his progress throughout this season. Great drone shots. Look at the camping area. It is packed here this weekend as part of the Hi-Tec Oils Bathurst 6 Hour. And look at Lewis showing the nose underneath Carell again into Griffin's Bend. Couldn't quite make it work as Barnes is now working on the back of Butters for what is theoretically position number 5, but 2 different classes.
Yeah, Butters is leading his class, and he's got a couple of RX8s behind him before his nearest opposition in Pulsars, which is Scott Tidyman in 8th, Gavin Reynolds in 9th, and Chris Manning in 10th. Jet Herring trails those quartet of cars as well.
Lewis has done a fair few miles around here at Mount Panorama. He brought this car up here in November to run, and they were part of basically the Australian Production Car Championship in Class D that particular weekend. So a few of the cars were up here that weekend to get a bit of an understanding as to how these cars will feel here once they combine the classes here this weekend.
Unfortunately, it didn't end well for him.
No.
He crashed at Skyline, got caught up with a couple of other cars. 144 in a little bit of trouble there. That's Perry Anastakis.
Stop there on driver's left, exiting Murray's corner as we get the shots of him, and it looks like it just comes to a complete halt there, and died on him coming out of the final turn, and pulls it off on the left-hand side. Hopefully that's in a well enough position that we can keep it under local yellows there anyway, and keep this race running under green flag conditions.
So whatever happened there, it had no grunt whatsoever. It wasn't going to coast up the hill or coast him back into the pit lane. And now
Herring comes from a long way back, throws it down the inside. Contact as well. Will he touch the wall? He might have just grazed it with the right rear quarter panel. Unfortunately there for Herring, was probably a day late and $1 short there, heading down into Murray's corner, as Boylett now on the outside of Reynolds here, and will actually hold on to that spot as well. So it's all going on here at the half race distance. Let's check out Hi-Tec Oil's replay here. A big lunge which didn't quite work out.
Just locked the front brakes there going into the corner, and there was just that slight nudge coming through, and the loser was Jet Herring. It came out of that. Only lost a couple of spots though, so all good, carry on. And right now he's on a bit of a charge. He finished in, just seeing where he finished in the first race, finished 28th, and now he's vying for a top 10 spot almost.
They're rubbing mirrors as they head up towards Griffin's Bend. And around the outside was Thomas holding tough, and Lewis as well. Further up through the field, they're continuing to battle it out, but that was a great fight, and it looks like that may have gone in the favour now of the 27 machine. Moving up and underneath the outside of Reynolds as we go further up now through the field. Tidyman holding on here from Boylett, but only just, of course, two different cars. The Pulsar leading the RX-8 at the moment. Tidyman, who will be driving in the Hi-Tec Oil's Bathurst 6 Hour this weekend, works his way across the top McPhillamy Park, and how's that left rear tyre off the ground? It's on holiday there through the left-hander.
All the front-wheel drive cars seem to be doing.
Oh, pull it up! He was seriously close then to getting the wall on driver's right, and does get through the dipper. That was a hold-your-breath moment. Somehow got away with it, and if anything, put a bit of a margin between himself
literally
and Boylett.
Threw that car down through those corners.
How did he get away with that? But Gordon's having a real push here. He's done a personal best to the first sector, and he's brought that margin back down another second now to 3.2, and Parker was probably just easing off through that yellow flag sector across the top of the mountain.
It was Ross Forbes in the number 66 car that was labouring a little bit across the top of the mountain.
So here he is, Charlie Parker. This was the car that won the championship last year as well, in the hands of Brock Payne. And as you mentioned, the grandson of multiple Australian GT and sports sedan champion Greg Crick. He's got so much experience in that family. He's got so much experience behind him as well that will support him throughout his racing career with Paul Morris and everyone up there at Norwell Motorplex. He has to do a fair bit of travel as well because he comes from Tasmania, but the Tasmanian has travelled here to Mount Panorama and continues the dominant weekend in the number 33 machine. The clean sweep continues. Charlie Parker through the final turn will take out race number 2 of the weekend for the Formula RX-8. A good drive from Gordon in position number 2. Carell will bring this home. The South African in position number 3. Just behind them, the number 50 of Justin Lewis, and then give it to the man, Matty Boylett, will come across the line and take the win in the battle for the Pulsars. So here's your results for race number 2 of the weekend. Charlie Parker getting the job done. 3.1 seconds between himself and Ryan Gordon. Stian Cattell, South African, position number 3 for him. Justin Lewis, Justin Barnes, the top 5. Josh Thomas, I should say, position number 6. Then Matty Boylan, the winner for the Pulsars. He was there. Matt Butters, I should say. He was the winner of the Pulsars. Position 8 outright for him.
Scotty Tyman, second in the Pulsars, came in 9th position.
A little bit of exotica on the racetrack now as we turn our attention to the Australian Prototype Series. Joining forces with regulator New South Wales Supersports, but a great field regardless. A little bit further back is Mark Lauke, the bright yellow and black Lauke Flour Mills entry. He's a former champion of this class. Starts this one down in 16th because had an off at turn 1 and was parked in the gravel in the race this morning. John Paul Drake and Nick Kelly on the front row of the grid. Neil Mustin in the Radical alongside Jason Macris, the missile In the Wolf F1, Julian Newton, the South Australian, alongside Darren Barlow. Mark Brayman, Terry Knowles, Radical Cup Australia competitor. Then Warwick Morris and Peter Clare. Nakarada and champion. Simon Copping and Greg Kenny for Valente Rosso. Ibi Hadid, who's over from the UAE via Canada. And then Mark Lauke and Glenn Stellenbaum rounding out this field. Looking forward to seeing what Neil Muston's got in the 41 car. Excalibur Racing, hugely experienced guy. He's got a fighter jet he flies every now and then. And I'm not joking, I mean it as well. Based out of Sydney. He goes off the second row of the grid with Jason Macris, who's very wide at the final corner. Rolling start, Australian Prototype Series and New South Wales Supersports racing on a beautiful Saturday afternoon at the mountain. Macris dives around the outside, left of screen, squeezes the nose down on Julian Newton. Muston in that red Radical SR8, got a good run. He's third. JP Drake, the feisty South Australian, though, leads them up for the first time with Nick Kelly in second position. The V8 Sleuth drone cam capturing it perfectly on a lovely afternoon. A little bit further back is Darren Barlow fending off Mark Brame. Then some Radicals side by side. Terry Knowles and Warwick Morris. And then Peter Clare in the 47 car. Adam Nakarada goes around the outside. He's in that aqua-coloured entry in car number 10. So up to the cutting for the first time. Nice and clean so far.
Absolutely. JP Drake's got the lead here. It's easy to push hard over the mountain and get a little bit wrong in this first lap when tyres are cold, brakes are cold, but he's going to be trying his best to get a good gap over the top of the mountain and down the hill. See if he can get that gap on Kelly, but he's got a good jump for sure.
The noise you hear is all JP Drake, by the way. That's the Wolf F1 Extreme, and a smidge over 5,000 cc, so 5 litres of V8 power in that car at the front. Nick Kelly's car's 1,600 cc but turbocharged, so it produces its power in a different way. And then Neil Muston's car, the Radical SR8, is normally aspirated. 2.7 litre V8 that Radical build in-house and have done so for a long time. About 450 horsepower in that car and 650 odd kilos, so decent power to weight ratio. But Drake and Kelly battling it out for the race lead as they run down Conrod for the first time.
Oh, you can just see the speed these things have in a straight line. They get to open it up down Mountain Straight, but they have to stop it down here at the chase too. Brakes will be glowing hot after a stop like that, travelling at those speeds. But JP Drake, he's just got a good exit out of there. He's controlling this race at the moment.
So I was just caught up in the noise of Neil Muston's Radical going down Conrod at full noise. And it's got Cosworth Formula One car, sort of 90s era about it, I reckon. It'll do 9,000 RPM, I think, from memory, those Radical V8s, so they're a serious bit of kit.
A V8 doing 9,000
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
So imagine your Trans Am car with that.
Oh, yeah. I like it. I like what you're thinking.
This is Brame again and Barlow. Darren, a while back in sort of an earlier iteration of the Australian Prototype Series, had a fantastic title battle with Roger Ianson. They had a huge fight for a couple of years, and it was Storr versus West, so two very similar types of cars. In the US, they were D-type sports races. Gee, he's got a good run at the Radical, which punches quite a big hole in the air relative to the little Storr behind it. But does it stall out as it gets alongside? No, it doesn't. He's got that position, slipstream pass, and clear by the time they get to turn 2. Oh, you're watching Mark Brame turn in and not get the car rotated particularly well.
That's a really tricky thing with that turn 2. There's one groove, and if you just miss it, you're in some real trouble. I have experienced that myself, but yeah, if you get in that groove, you're all good, but outside of it, yeah, you don't want to be there.
Hey, let's just touch on Trico Trans Am. Wild Road 45-minute race a couple of hours ago. You ended up in the 10. Solid return from where you started. Thoughts, feelings, happy?
I survived, so I'm pretty happy. No, it was yeah, wild race. Trans Am around here with 41 cars. It was just, yeah, I can't even put it into words, but it was a lot of fun. Like, it was just a real tyre management game. You know, 45-minute race is quite long in those cars, so keeping the rear tyres on it was a struggle. Like, it's not something I'm used to, so I definitely had to learn a lot as the race was going on. I think the safety car was quite nice because it looked after my brakes.
Yeah, nice.
And probably my body. But no, it was good. It was a good fun race, and hopefully we can turn around overnight and find some speed.
I was speaking to Stephen Champion, who's 13th in this race at the moment, and Stephen races in between the New South Wales Supersport Championship and First Focus Radical Cup, and he said, "Oh, I don't think you'll mind me saying this." He said, I just don't have that last second you need, and it's all in me just not being quite confident enough to properly commit." He said, "I just don't quite have that confidence this weekend."
Oh, it's a tough thing. Like, to commit over the top of the mountain really takes some time, and there's a lot of people that still, you know, I mean, I'm still learning, and I've been here a few times now, and I'm sure the guys that come here for the 1000, they're still learning how to commit over the top. Like, it's just, you can come here so many times, you can never master it, because it's just a crazy bit of racetrack.
Battle further back. This is Jason Macris and Julian Newton, 4th and 5th place. Jason, former Australian Prototype Series champion. Just Terry Knowles continues to tumble down the timing totem in car 68, which is a shame. Lovely guy. He drives the truck to all the races. He's worked with Barton Moore. He and Bart shared that car last year, but he's been handed the reins to his own car, and I think that's him parked across to the left-hand side of the road there. Oh, and this is a big off. That's Sue Hughes.
Oh, that's a lot of gravel back on the track there. Is that dust from, or is that smoke pouring out the back?
Oh, is that Sue or is that Ibi Hadid?
We'll have a look at this one again. See what happened. Oh, just a bit wide there. And once you get out there, you can't control it. Oh, that's really unfortunate. But he got back out, which is good, because you can easily get stuck in there.
Actually, the battle for the lead, the timing monitor, is 0.6 of a second. So JP Drake, in what should be the final lap of this race, has chucked away a little bit of time, and Nick Kelly has got to the back of that leading car.
As I was talking about, he who makes the least mistakes. maybe JP Drake made a little bit of a mistake. 8/10 slower in the first sector, so we're not sure what's happened there, but we'll see how he goes in this middle sector.
Some caution, perhaps, on the final lap, like you were suggesting?
Maybe just to bring it home. Don't want to do anything silly. 34.3, 34.2 for Drake and Kelly in the middle sector. Maybe it's all good. Maybe just a little bit cautious in the first one. This is really close coming down Conrod now.
Well, Kelly's got in the toe of the guy who's dominated this race from the outset. You can see the car behind, how it sort of moves around when it gets that aerodynamic buffeting. Drake gets it stopped and turned, and we'll get this thing home if he can navigate Murray's Corner all right, but a little bit closer perhaps than he would have expected. But JP, the excitable South Australian, is going to win race 2 of Australian Prototype Series and New South Wales Supersports here at Mount Panorama. Confirmation of the results with Drake, Kelly and Muston, the top 3, with Jason Macris. Strangely quiet weekend so far for the Missile. Newton in 5th, and then Lauki, Barlow, Brain, Clare and Nakarada rounding out the 10. Morris Champion, Storbaum, Kenny, Hadid, Copping and Knowles. So good stuff. Beautiful afternoon.